Namaste, Soul Healers, and welcome to Soul Horoscope SuperScope Weekly Report. My name is Christopher Witecki. I'm your Sensei to Sirius Joy, here to help you step into your personal enlightenment of the heart. And this is for Virgos and Virgo Risings, who I affectionately call my Step 11s. You are really two Leos in one if you don't know, because Step 1 is Leo and Step 11 is Virgo. And that means you are the final step. You are the cherry on top of life. And sometimes Virgos get way preoccupied with every option for the toppings of life, and you get lost in the toppings. That's because you are hyper aware of all the potential. This is true for Virgo Risings as well. So this particular week, the universe is going to ask Virgos to step into a new boundary policy. This boundary policy is, in essence, the potential to step out of one life and into another, the potential to go through from caterpillar to butterfly, to step into a whole new paradigm because you're simply changing what you're willing to change. And see, Virgos really aren't willing to change. They say we're stubborn, Tauruses. I just got to tell you, come on. Virgos, Aries in the 8th house, you are solid there. We're both. Actually, if you look at all the earth signs, they've got Aries placed somewhere that like makes them rock solid, makes the earth signs kind of solid. So it's about your strength. Now, at the core of this, if you're just joining us, this is your boundary consciousness, what you will say yes to or what you'll say no to. That is ultimately what's going to change Virgos by changing that yes or no policy. You're moving to your security, trust, privacy sector of consciousness, chapter 2 of this. And this is where we have a big event. We have a lunar eclipse this week. The universe is going to pop you out of an ice cube tray and let you be free into a new world, so to speak. And that's the grand cross we have going on. What it comes down to in the practical wizardry of your life is that you have to change what you decide you trust in yourself. And you have to be willing to play cards with the universe just on that trust, not on any empirical data outside of that trust. The Virgos that can build a rock-solid trust in their own self will be the ones that get to go to a new land, be able to fly away into a new perspective. The Virgos that don't will do another round of this, and we'll see you next year in the same spot. Uranus ain't going anywhere. So this will have a huge leap. The reason why this is the profound week is because we will have a lunar eclipse, and if you don't know, we're in the middle of a grand cross. Mars is also retrograde for all you astro buffs out there. I'll explain for who's not an astro buff. This Uranus versus Mars opposition is part of the tug of war in space with Earth in the center, and for you, this is a money issue and self-esteem issue on the Mars end, and on the Uranus and Aries end, it is where you draw your lines. So in essence, the universe is saying, if you have money problems right now, first of all, you may not see them change till probably May 20th. I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but that's why you come here, is to get the truth, not bad news. And then Uranus and Aries, what happens is by reconsidering, on the one hand, where you value yourself and how you value yourself and where your esteem comes from and where your strength comes from, you end up putting yourself into a new paradigm potential for manifestation because you're now with different comfort boundaries. So to give you an example, it's like a person who's a high power CEO has to be comfortable being a high power CEO, right? And so sometimes being comfortable with yourself allows you to draw the hard lines with others. This is how things will change. Now, the Pluto-Jupiter opposition is actually where things can change the most, believe it or not. And that's because Jupiter is moving forward fast and free and saying we all have to get a move on in this direction. What's that for Virgos and Virgo Risings? Your social life. So believe it or not, you're actually being pulled by the universe trying to get you into a new market, a new category, a new neighborhood, a new circle of friends. That's the force that's making this whole dynamic shake so much. But this point of this month is where you draw your boundaries, particularly where you draw your boundaries with people in the world. So let's look at the eclipse. On Tuesday morning, early Tuesday morning, we will have a lunar eclipse, which is the Earth's shadow falling on the moon. And what this does spiritually is really kind of do a high blast of change it now energy, and it's in the opposite of the sun sign. So this will be some sort of probably a financial issue for the Virgos. Or it could be that you have a whole business pulled away, or you might have a divorce end, so therefore you're in a new market, but something will end on a high level of manifestation, a project or whatever. Or you might just finally put something to rest, finally let go of something, let go of a certain idea of how you'll be abundant, or let go of a certain way you thought it had to be. All right. So by letting go, it frees you to be free in general. It frees you to be able to draw your boundaries without being worried about money. And if I were just to give you a practical wizardry, I would say you're supposed to draw your boundaries without worrying about money. That's it. That's ultimately it. But it's a lot more complicated than that, isn't it? Now, the eclipse will happen early Tuesday morning. So that is begins just before 1 a.m. Eastern time and will climax at 3:46 a.m. So you really want to go to bed Monday night like clear on what financial projects, what sort of things that you were manifesting that you're willing to put down. Now, an eclipse energy can happen or affect your life 3 days prior to 3 days after the horizon event. So, we most often see profound things happen on Earth in solar lunar eclipses, including geographic stuff like earthquakes and stuff like that. This eclipse is a high vibration eclipse at step 25. So what this is really doing is promoting a huge, intense whiff of peace on planet Earth. So I imagine it'll be extremely quiet eye of the storm eclipse. Very, very quiet and peaceful. And it's actually the pull into that peace for a few minutes that ends up shaking the foundations of the rowdy on Earth. And in your case, letting you put down peacefully something that allows you to be free. Now, again, the eclipse happens on Tuesday morning. So Monday night when you go to bed, you want to be clear on that. And for those who are in GA Venus, I will text you and remind you, of course. And then as soon as we do that, the moon moves into Scorpio, and right away you go into thinking changes, attitude changes, relationship and marriage changes, and you end the week on Friday having to commit to an overall trust pattern and feeling maybe vulnerable. The moon in Sag, you might feel very vulnerable at the end of the week as you're hoping you're making the right decisions about what you trust or don't trust. So this week is about your passionate strength for survival, but turning that into courage for the right path. And that means letting go of things that are in the wrong path, particularly with money-making schemes or self-esteem rebuilders. Anything that was falsely rebuilding based on overcompensation to trust, get straight to the trust so the universe can compensate. That's my advice for the week. Now, for the 11 VQs. 11 VQs are people who have Venus in Virgo. And 11 VQs have an insatiable appetite for love. They just cannot get enough. You have to be in a love affair with yourself and be in a love affair with someone else. If you're an 11 VQ, by the way, that's what the 1 and 1 is. And for the 11 VQs, it is now time to fall in love. I mean, Venus is the ruling planet of love and giving, receiving, or it tells us where love is pointed right now, is actually pointing for the 11 VQs to go ahead and start walking down that aisle. First with the marriage vows and what you vow to be to yourself. Very important. If you go out there wanting love and you haven't made marriage vows, you're going to go down the same wrong path again. But I believe this Love Fest Day, which is coming up here, not this week but the following, is going to be a huge, beautiful blast of potential love for the 11 VQs. So take care of yourself now, because I believe you'll be engaged. Now with Mars retrograde, you may be engaged with old lovers coming up first, just so you know. And those are all little tests to not follow down the same path, particularly not follow down the false trust path. Learn to trust thyself and then make accordingly. But with Chiron there and Chiron hitting 15 degrees, love, love, love is in the air for the 11 VQs. Let me say that. Now, if you want to know how this whole month ends, and if you want to get deeper or get some backstory, get overly analyzed in the information way, I've got a horoscope. It's called a Megascope. It's $13.95, and it's available at soulmart.me. It's super good, and it will include the eclipse energy. I also put in a bonus file there, so you can go back in time and see how you've grown when it comes to trust, sex, and intimacy. I also have a service where I watch over people by texting them 7 to 10 times a day, particularly women, at gavenus.com. If you'd like me to coach you, I do it, and I do it down to the chart level. It's awesome. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. We appreciate that. On Facebook, you can now like us at soulgarden.me. You can be there in our community there as we gather. And if you want to be emailed every day, the zodiac weather and your horoscopes once a week, come to soulmart.me and sign up on our newsletter. We like to stay in touch, and I'm happy to do it. Sometimes you just want those horoscopes delivered. Okay, Virgos, Virgo Risings, the soul healers of the planets, the 11 VQs. You know, the lesson this week is very simple. To trust yourself is to listen to your heart. That is the essence of trust. So listening close to that heart allows you to know what you're really comfortable with and build out from there. Once you rebuild those primary trust issues, I think you might find you're in a different place than Kansas, Dorothy. And for you men out there, I'm not sure. I don't have an analogy right now. I'll see you guys in 7 days. I love you. Live, love, be.